need more boxes. Need more boxes for records. Oh, hey! Welcome to Out Past the Rings, Vol.65. Today we're talking about the 8 feet under double 12-inch that came out on June 1st of 2017. So we're jumping ahead a little bit again because this was a very long time in the making and was, at the time of its release, without a doubt, the most elaborate and intensive release of Zengmavich's early career, because this was only 65. So the history of this goes back to probably 2015 or so. Well, it goes back a little further than that, but that's when I officially started doing the 8 feet under double 12-inch based off this, which is one of my favorite compilations of all time. It's the Microwave Says to the Pacemaker double 7-inch that I got way back when I first got into Screamo. So, I mean, there's some amazing bands that I found out because of this comp. So there's the Death Band of Carina, La Quiete, Rats and the Robots, Die Emperor Die, The Assailant, If It Doesn't Kill You, Phoenix Bodies, and Codan Armada. I think about half of those I already knew, but the other half I did not. And this split introduced me to them, or comp, or whatever you want to call it. Ha! So, maybe we should talk about if this is a split or a comp. Someone's gonna say, oh, if there's more than 4 bands, it's definitely a comp. But I argue this: each band contributes an EP worth of material. So, it's gotta be some kind of a split comp, or something, but it really doesn't matter. Each band I asked to contribute somewhere between, I think, 7 and 11 minutes of material, and all of the bands came through. Well, maybe I should backtrack a little more. First, let's look at the history, I think, of what bands ended up on this double 12-inch. So there were quite a few iterations. This began as a 4-way split, before I had the idea of kind of matching it up with Microwave Says to the Pacemaker as a double 8-band thing. So initially it was going to be kind of like a Canada and Sweden thing. The initial idea was to do Visa Malskade Varanda Samiket and Via Fondo, along with Nuzation. So those 3 all match up, correct? And Congratulations was the original Canadian band slated for this release. What ended up happening was, after they wrote their initial 6 songs that ended up on the demo EP as well as the Rapid Theory split 7-inch, it sounded like when they tried to get back to writing, they couldn't get back into the writing groove, and I don't think anything really came for quite a while, and then there was like a hiatus and stuff. So essentially the band dissolved while kind of like waiting for the songs. So I had to find another band, and I had my band that from Hamilton that I was in at the time. So this is a weird one for the world that summer, because our 3 songs are so mishmash in terms of when they were recorded and when they were written and so forth. One of them isn't even a World That Summer song, technically. So the Standard Gravity of Impending Doom was written during our very first practice and was recorded during the sessions for the Apostles of Eris split. So the recording quality I don't think is very good, and it shows, despite it being one of our better, heavier songs. Nogs for Lucas was one of our, I guess, middle songs that we wrote, and it was recorded in a different... we wrote it right before we recorded. I think we wrote it like a week before we recorded it, so it ended up on this. But again, these songs had been sitting around for, I think, a year at this point, so they were pretty old, and we needed a bit more time because that only took us to about 6 minutes, so we were trying to figure out what to do, and I was like, I have this song from when I played bass in high school and university, and afterwards, I guess, that I had written for this solo bass screaming thing that I was trying to do back in university, before I even knew what Screamo was. And I really loved Mulholland Drive, so I took an audio clip of the guy in the restaurant talking about his dream about the guy in the back of this place that controls everything, and I took the bass riff that I had recorded and been like, I wonder if these 2 would work together, and I literally just put them over top of each other as is, and just the way they lined up just felt so perfect that I never even changed it. So this is a recording from like 2002, 2003 maybe? Very, very old song, and we just shoved it in there so we were more than 6 minutes. Ah, the cat's out of the bag! Shit! Okay, let's continue on. After we joined, actually before we joined, I decided to do the 8-band thing. So I'm like, we're doing this country thing. What are some other countries that I really enjoy music from? Well, the U.S. is kind of a no-brainer. So the first band that said okay to this from the U.S. was ice hockey. So ice hockey was supposed to be on this 8-way initially, but as you know, they broke up. They had to withdraw, and they saved all the tracks for their final LP, which makes sense. I get it. So I had to not scramble, but I remember being like, shit, who the fuck am I gonna find? Ooh, dropping the profanity this episode. So Youth Novel was the second band, so I had asked the two, and they had said yes pretty much right away. And then Sleeper Wave had just released their 8-song, not their demo, but their first EP, and I was blown away. Very, very excited about what they were kind of off minory sounding, so I hit them up. Like, do you want to be a part of this thing? We would need songs very soon. They said, we just recorded an EP. Yes, we want to be on this. So they were the first band to submit songs. It was like 2 weeks after I had asked them. And I gotta say, the Sleepawave songs are still, without a doubt, if not the best, tied for the best on this 8-way, because their songs are fantastic. Really, really good stuff. Super jazzy. Again, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. So that evened out the US side, and then I was looking at Italy, because, well, for a multitude of reasons, I had a lot of friends there. I should maybe backtrack a tad more. I had tried to get Loma to take ice hockey's place, I think, initially as well, but they said they were a little too full, which is more than understandable. It was a long shot. Speaking of long shots, the two bands that I had initially thought of for Italy, and it's kind of a no-brainer. Who do you think of when you think Italian Screamo? That's right. I asked Rain, I asked La Quiete, and didn't get a response from either of them because the bands were pretty much broken up at that time. Pretty much. Not quite. Anyway, so I moved on, and the next two bands I asked both said yes. Pastel, which is a 2-piece band with Andrea from, what's he in now? Chevalier. So that was really cool, and I had previously released their Mary Do split 12-inch, and then Lemontide, who I had at this point previously, I can't even remember if I've done the Past the Rings for it yet. I think I have, yes. So I had already released that EP, Incarnus, whatever it's called, Abyssus. So that rounded out the 8 that ended up being on this. The labels that helped out with this expensive, I'll get to that later, release were Zegma Beach, Shove Records in Italy, Through Love Records in Germany, IFB Records, and Don't Live Like Me Records, both in the US. Initially, the primary US label was set to be Blood of the Young, and I remember we got the VSOM tracks, and I just got the World That Summer tracks, and I sent them to Nick. I remember Nick saying they were really good, and I think that was the last thing that Nick ever said to me, because he passed away about a week or two after that. So this release is dedicated to Nick Thompson from Blood of the Young. The VSOM songs are so good. Recorded, they were, I think, essentially supposed to be demos for the second LP, but I'm glad they got left off, and they're just this like isolated thing that's on this double 12-inch, which I think helps. Their two songs, absolutely fantastic. Easily two of their best songs. And then I was so excited to get Via Fondo involved as well, because Via Fondo was amazing. These are their last two songs that they have released, which is unfortunate, but at least we got 2 more out of them before the end. Speaking of the end, Nous Étions, these were their final recordings as well, from Quebec. World That Summer, like I said, that was all over the place. What really should have been on this split was the Neon Day plugin songs. Those were the new songs at the time, and we should have switched them, but because of the way that things had worked out, Neon Day, I think, went to press before the Double 12. I don't know. But very weird song selection from us. Sleepwave songs we already talked about. Youth Neville songs continued from 7 to 10, and there was the 4-song EP, and then there was the split with Coma, and then there's these songs, and then there is the new cassette that comes out on February 14th on Zegna Beach, their posthumous full-length, which is phenomenal and goes from 11 to 21, I think. So yeah, be on the lookout for some Easter eggs and stuff about special things, perhaps? I'm giving too much away already. Okay, so, and then from Italy, Lemon Teed is very, like, slowed down Converge, or circular sign, like O kind of thing. Really heavy, and they got even heavier on this release than the previous EP. And then we talked about Pastel as well, kind of like almost like lighter, more playful Rain and La Quiete sound. Oh, the art! Yeah. Oh, yeah. The art is by Nero, an Italian graffiti artist that, I don't remember who, someone from Lemon Teed or Andrea had recommended him. And I really enjoy the original art that was made for this by Nero, and it's a gatefold. Super, super nice packaging in terms of the quality and stuff as well. Both the 12 inches are just on black. We did 500. Which probably brings me, I guess, to the end part, which is I've got it down here as a broken heart. This didn't do what I thought it would do. The price of shipping the records around to the other labels and bands was astronomical because I wasn't aware, and my rep hadn't told me that they ship directly from the plant. So I didn't know that they did that. I'm sure most labels were well aware of this, but I didn't know. So shipping them to Italy and to Sweden just like destroyed everybody. And then they didn't sell that well. So if you want to pick one up, please grab one from either ourselves or, especially if you're in Europe, please get one from Shove and Through Love. And I think Visom still has quite a few copies as well. I think this is almost like a typical label story, I'm sure, for many labels, in the fact that you just put so much love and effort into something that you know is really, really good, and it just doesn't reverberate, I guess, echo as well with the community that you were giving it to. And I think if I were to release this now on Zegna Beach, we would sell way more copies. But you know, maybe it's stuff like this that got ZBR to where it is today. So I don't know. I love this release. It still holds a special place in my heart. It was called Volume 1 because there was supposed to be a Volume 2. Volume 2 was supposed to be Sank, and Sank initially had 8 bands, but I'll tell you who had to drop from that in that episode. So, I guess we'll conclude it there. What is happening next? Oh, it's going to be the Neon Day plugin World That Summer split 10-inch that was released almost like, I think, 2 weeks after this. So until then, boxes...